Tag-it Guide. Talking objects, talking maps. A new technology makes objects, maps, museums accessible to the blind.
Hello, my name is Dräger&Lienert. I'm going to present you Tag-it Guide, a system that we developed. Our company is Dräger&Lienert from Marburg, Germany. First of all, I would like to tell you what sort of hardware you need to run Tag-it Guide. Tag-it Guide runs, for example, on the organizer Pronto of the company Baum, www.baum.de, in combination with a very light RFID reader, which I have in my right hand. The system runs on ordinary PCs with different types of RFID readers. The system runs on PDAs, for example on this PDA, in combination with a pen-like RFID reader. Alternatively, you can use a reader which you just put on top of the PDA. There is one example here, this one. So this is a complete Tag-it Guide system. It's an ordinary PDA with an RFID reader. You can take it, you can walk around wherever you use Tag-it, in a museum, in a hospital, in a public building, whatever. So the system basically works like this. We use RFID chips, which I'm going to show you a bit later, and we scan so-called points of interest on a tactile map, on a tactile object, and Tag-it Guide will output audio information, and if you like, information as video or graphic or whatever you like. Now this is an example how you can make tactile maps. This is the map that we got from BBSB in Nuremberg. The map was made by Gustav Dubrava and Dr. Thomas Kremer and other persons. And what they did, they put information in the computer, then they made a positive tactile model with a CNC machine, and from the positive you could make plastic samples. So what I touch is the plastic surface, and underneath there is something which had been printed so that you can see and feel objects on the plan. The only thing we did, we put RFID chips underneath some places. For example, underneath this place there is Braille, and the concept when the tactile plan was produced was the blind person touches and explores the plan, and when you find some Braille signs, you take a book and then you will read explanations. Now with Tag-it Guide you can trigger audio information very easily. I show it to you.
Unschlitthaus.
Now you hear the explanation for this point of interest. There are other points of interest where you can get more information. For example, there is one dot here. When I scan this one,
Spielzeugmuseum.
you hear a sound, and this sound means that there is information available on a second layer of information or on a third layer and so on. And I'm going to scan this again.
Das Nürnberger Spielzeugmuseum erinnert an eine alte lokale Tradition. Denn seit jeher
Now, this is information about a historic building. The information on the second level has been produced in a studio, and it's about an historic building, and you can get quite a lot of information. If you want to get information that is very long, you can put it onto a milestone, for example. On the left side of the map there are tactile buttons, and this is sort of a manual. So, for example, when I scan the first one, we have Start written here. Now I scan this.
Start. Sie hören und fühlen den Stadtplan der Innenstadt von Nürnberg.
So when you want to continue, you just
herausgegeben
scan the next
vom Bayerischen
one.
Blinden- und Sehbehindertenverbund. Vorwort.
So this is introduction.
Der Plan der Nürnberger Innenstadt. Bedienungshinweise.
So this is manual.
So erkunden Sie Nürnberg mit, wie dieser Plan gemacht wurde.
This is how to make plans.
Wie Sie selbst
and so
sprechende
on.
Pläne machen können. Wenn Zeit und Geld. Saturn, Hansa.
Alright. So this is a an example of a high quality tactile plan, I'm going to show you an example how you can make plans for your own in a very easy way. This is an example of a plan that was made in a very cheap way. We just used a board, we put some sticks on it, then we sticked the chips on top of the plan, and a chip looks like this, so the chips are very, very small. And you just glue them on top of the board. So I'm now going to scan one of the chips.
Wilhelmsplatz, Linie 11, 1, 2,
Wilhelmsplatz.
7, 8.
The system tells me the name of the station, so it's about buses from Marburg, and then it tells me the names of the lines that serve this station. So I can go to the next station.
Philippshaus, Linie 11, 1, 2,
Alright,
7,
and so
8,
on.
5, 16.
And I get an impression of how the network is organized. In this case, the audio output comes from a computer, from a TTS, and not from a natural person. So you have the choice. You can talk into the system, you can make recordings in a studio, or you can use TTS in order to produce the audio. What you see is a high quality tactile plan of a part of the town Marburg in Germany. This plan was made by the division for tactile material from Blister Marburg. Ms. Schwenger, she's the project leader for this kind of tactile maps. What we did with TagIt Guide, we put some chips on top of the tactile map. For example, there is a chip here, or there are chips on other places, for example here. So when I scan a chip, I will get information about this point.
Haltestelle Lerchenweg. Hier halten die Buslinien A1 und A2.
So obviously this is German. It tells me the name of the station, and it tells me the buses that stop there. So when I scan this one,
Bürgerhaus Werder.
so this is sort of a public building. It's not about a bus stop. You heard a sound. When I scan again, I get some more information.
Bürgerhaus Werder Erläuterung. Verwaltungsauslandsstelle der Stadt Marburg Freihaft vom Steinstein.
So it tells me where it is.
No, frei.
And now it tells me
30, 12,
opening times.
00,
Shut up.
16 Uhr, 18 Uhr.
Okay, it doesn't stop. Alright, so it's you can add the kind of information you would like. So it's up to you. You make the choice.